Now, as we continue our knowledge sharing mission through a series of interviews, we continue with marketing leaders from all over the world, and we're thrilled to have Laura with us today. Now, Laura, please, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the Adaptavist Group.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you first for having me. So my role at the Adaptavist Group is head of field marketing. So I lead a globally distributed team focused on events, community, executive engagement, and of course, pipeline acceleration. How I'd explain my role is that it sits at the intersection of strategy, sales, customer relationships. So I spend a lot of my time making sure marketing effort translates into real commercial impact. And over my time, my career, I've spent a lot of it in the Atlassian ecosystem. And that's really helped shape how I think about community-led growth and experience-led marketing, which obviously trickles into my day-to-day. And at its core, my job, what I like to think about is it's connecting people, ideas, and the intent in a way that supports growth.
Amazing. And if you can tell us a little bit about what is your current marketing focus at the moment?
Yeah, so our focus is shifting from volume to value. We are looking at being far more intentional about where we're investing our time, our resources, our budgets, particularly when it comes to executive level engagements. So it's meaning much fewer activities, but with a clearer purpose and much more closer alignment with sales. And that being able to drive more intentional engagements and much more value to the customers and building a lot more trust in what we're doing. So a big part of my role today is also helping teams feel confident in saying no. So the yeses really count when we do actually choose the right activities for the right regions, for the right customers, for the right account growth or customer acquisitions.
Got it. And how would you define success in marketing? Not only at Adaptavist Group, but maybe in general, how would you define it?
Oh, okay. For me, I would probably define success from marketing as a whole, I think, is when we're trusted as a commercial partner and not just a delivery function. So, of course, pipeline is a key metric, and it's something that, is the core of any business. But success also shows up in how early sales brings us into conversations and when our work changes how accounts are approached. So if marketing influences behaviors, decision-making and confidence, for me, that's a real success. We're making impact both internally and externally.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned sales, and this kind of inspires me for my next question, because I did see your biography on LinkedIn and I saw you started actually with sales first as a sales assistant. So can you please describe now today how you view the relationship between marketing and sales at Adaptavist Group, but also how did that experience impact you and does it still hold value, maybe your knowledge in sales and background in sales when it comes to you being head of marketing today?
It makes me appreciate both sides of the coin. We, as sales and marketing, are driving to the same goal. We just usually go about it in different ways. And usually that is how come it's the age-old story of sales and marketing not seeming to find the right path to collaboration. So background in sales and marketing and seeing how that connects, but also seeing the pitfalls as we go along and throughout my career in different organizations and the struggles, but also the great parts of how we do make it work. And it's not to say we can eliminate everything, but fundamentally, if we can build a world where we are working to the same goal with the same metrics and defined successes, we will be approaching it in similar ways and being able to support one another. And we're really starting to see that come to life at the Adaptavist Group. We've worked extremely hard since field marketing was born in the group, and we're seeing lots of countries flourish from that sort of collaboration, in sync kind of intuition between the two teams, where we both have a seat at the table. We're both considering the other person or the other department, and we're both in tune with the accounts and what needs to be done and how we deliver that and what that pipeline is looking like, and sales willing to attribute results to marketing as well as vice versa. And so we're both winning in that scenario versus going kind of the head to head. So for me, yeah, my journey of watching, listening, understanding, seeing a lot of it in action, it all kind of comes to the epitome of where I am right now.
Of course, some healthy tension is good for both marketing and sales, and
Always.
this is how we grow, and this is what also happens at the Ortus Club. But collaboration is a must. So a good synergy is also a must to produce some great results. So I absolutely do agree with that. And maybe now going more so into other challenges of maybe more so focusing now back to marketing. What would you say is the biggest challenge maybe you're facing today in marketing in your current role, or what is the biggest challenge that marketeers face today in general?
I'm going to tackle the second one first.
Okay.
So I think marketers in general today, I think the biggest challenge that I see personally is the constant pressure to be everywhere all the time across every channel. We face a real risk of mistaking activity for impact, especially when everything is measurable and data is getting more and more important and more visible as we go. So prioritization has almost become the hardest but also most important skill for modern marketers. Without the clear focus, and even good marketing then becomes diluted because we're just trying to do too much, and we all become overstretched, overworked. Creativity dies in that sort of environment as well. And so that kind of does trickle into the first part of your question, which is obviously myself. And we always face prioritization, be it the regions that I manage, be it the activities that we have, be it the budget we've got to stretch across those, be it the global wants versus the regional kind of localized wants. Everything is a game of prioritization, and to get that right all the time is extremely difficult. And but kind of continuing to listen, observe, ensure that with the best knowledge that we have at that time, we're making what we feel is the right prioritization. Obviously, it can lead to some great activities, some great impact for the business, but I would definitely say it is tricky both for myself, but also the wider marketing world.
Definitely. Well, prioritization is difficult, I feel like, in every aspect of life as well. So it is a wonderful answer, actually, that applies to everything. But which brings me to my next question. What are you currently prioritizing at this moment for, let's say, Q1, Q2? What is your top prioritization and focus right now? And what are some exciting initiatives that you have upcoming?
So our prioritization at the moment is really looking at intentional sorts of activities, the ones that are going to get us in front of the right ICPs, the right accounts, at the right time as well, trying to get much more intent data so that we can make, we can equip sales, but also we can take the steps to make actionable value for the customer as we engage, but also the soft campaigns that we have around a lot of what is going on. So we have completely stripped back. We are not, we've reduced, shall we say. We haven't completely ruled them out because there are some we still need to do and want to do, but conferences are kind of very much off the table. The big spends, the booths, the amount of resources that it takes just to be there on that day from so many different teams, that is completely stripped back to the necessity ones. So Team 26 is a big global initiative that we have at the moment, which is with our partner Atlassian. That is probably one of the most exciting and impactful conferences we do each year. It'll be out in Anaheim and really brings together the business as a global standpoint. So that is one of them. And but for our more localized regions, we are looking at more one-to-ones. So organizations that will help us get one-to-one meetings that provide us with that background, that they've already done that initial vetting, almost like an SDR, going, this is the budget holder, they have a project in the next 6 to 9 months, they've seen your profile, they want to meet, and then equipping sales with what they need to really start the ball rolling, and then how we nurture them throughout. So a lot smaller and a lot more targeted, but it's almost becoming account-based marketing. Although I attended something, oh gosh, it was probably December last year, and we all agreed that account-based marketing is perhaps not the right words to use, but more account-based experience, and how all the different touch points and how we try to nurture really eventually leads to that pipeline growth. But I would say, yeah, we've got kind of the big and the small, but both really lead to impactful marketing along the way.
That's awesome. And what would you say is the most successful event or engagement piece you've hosted? And why was it the most successful?
Ooh, okay. It's really easy to go for things like our bigger global activities, because in general, they're going to drive what I would say is a lot more marketing influenced pipeline, and can be really deemed as a success that way. But some of our most successful have been a lot smaller, stripping back from the large to the intentional, looking at the high touch sessions where we've created the guest list, the agenda, the follow-ups, it all being so carefully designed. It generally outperforms most of the larger events, bar a few, and they work because the conversations are meaningful when it's not performative. It really helps the trust angle. We really want to build that with our customers. We're not there to sell. We want to give them the chance to meet with peers, give them the value of listening to thought leadership and people in the industry, and bringing all that together so they can make the right decisions, be it with us or someone else. But then obviously that knock-on effect of pipeline. And we've seen some really great smaller ones, even beyond that, where we're doing customer advocacy and getting those up on the website have actually led to pipeline. And it's what is small, but it takes a long time, the resources that it takes, and the resilience to kind of keep going as it stalls at each point. But even some of our softer, maybe not classified as events per se, but some of our marketing tactics are still really key to driving our pipeline and being part of that bigger success for those wider events.
Absolutely agree with that point, what you said about larger scale events. Definitely are helpful, but they're so large to the point where the quality is lost in conversation. And speed is everything, trying to meet as many people. And I mean, they serve a great purpose for brand visibility, but I don't think they work as great as small scale events, very targeted, more intimate setting where, like you said, peers can connect on a relevant topic. And from those connections, it's easier and quicker maybe to build this ROI and pipeline. So absolutely agree with that point. Now, I want to kind of go into a different direction a little bit and overall ask you about your experience as a professional in this industry for so long now. What would you say really shaped you throughout this journey? And were there any significant mentors or leaders that inspired you or still inspire you to this day?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been in marketing for well over a decade now, I think. And with that, I've gone through a range of different sides of marketing, from doing freelance way back in the early days to non-profit, to fashion, and it ultimately led me into technology through my master's and interests. And I haven't left that industry since I arrived. So I've spent the last 7 or so years in technology. And yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I've taken something from each piece. The resilience from being a freelancer and needing to really help identify yourself within the marketing world and your skill sets, because when you're starting out, obviously you don't have that experience, or your experience comes into question in the early days, and so you have to be resilient, you have to stand your ground, but in the right ways, and that really carries through all the way. That is part and parcel of me now. But the other side is empathy, as I shifted into more managerial roles, and not so much on the execution, but on the enablement of growing new marketers in the business, but also ones, again, that have the experience, and in some ways more experience than me, is being able to support their growth and help them, and have that empathy and understanding of how to do that in the right ways and the right tactics. And overall, like for me, just leading with my heart in a way. I give everything to my team, my role, and every sort of activity and that we do, I will make sure I give my support, whatever my team needs in that respect, and be able to ensure that the end result is there, but actually the experience that my team have and the growth that they experience and the growth in themselves is there, and they have that platform and ability to have a spotlight on them, and that is a real kind of important part for me. And I've learned that through watching a lot of my managers in the past, or seeing where perhaps they didn't do it, and kind of wishing that they did have that support and that element for me in the team. So I can safely say from each point in time, I've taken something that has just built up my skill sets. And I'd like to think that, I've brought all the best parts to the table, but I still have a lot to learn. Like, you just don't stop learning as a marketer, and you shouldn't. Like, the world shifts way too quickly, and you need to keep up with everything. But the curiosity and creativity comes from learning, and so they I would say I've taken with me and learn along the way. And in terms of kind of mentors or role models, I mean, there's been a number in the industry, and definitely my managers of the past. Just watching, say, observing the CMO, how they tackle things, how they even approach leadership, how they deal with the challenges. It's really been interesting to explore that, and they've let you peek into their world, and that is then able to carry you forward into those roles in the future as well. So I'd say it's really hard to call out one, but definitely I've had a really good track record of individuals that have supported and really focused on your growth versus just within the business, but you as a marketer, and that's got me to where I am today.
That's awesome. And that's what gotten you to the point where you are now mentoring future marketeers, where I saw you are quite passionate about that, and also supporting women in tech. And your philosophy is, as I quote, correct me if I'm wrong, accountability combined with creativity. So if you can please maybe elaborate a little bit on that and give advice to anybody who's starting out in this industry, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I think advice, and it goes back to my never stop learning, but especially if you're starting out early or even in a new job, understanding the business before you specialize. So thinking about, lots of people want to specialize in a channel or a tactic, but you need to really understand the landscape of everything before you're able to define yourself, and also test a few things out as well to see what you really enjoy. But spending time learning how sales works, how the revenue is generated, how decisions are actually made will make you far stronger as a marketer in the long run. So I would say if you're early in your career, breadth and curiosity matter more than perfection ever will. It's really, really what can help you grow as a marketer and find your feet, find your passion within the kind of whole host of things that marketing can actually touch. And as for accountability and creativity, you need to own what you're doing. We're marketers, we're responsible. There's nowhere to hide in a lot of places. So being accountable, owning it, whether it's gone good or bad, is, it helps to build trust. It helps to build that, the perceptions that people have of you, and a level of honesty that you can bring to the table, so that leadership will know that, you will always tell them the facts at the end of the day, whether it's good or bad. You're not trying to hide anything, but you actually have a plan in place. So, being accountable, yes, but, balancing that with creativity and going, okay, this didn't work, but let's look at this. This is how we're going to deviate, or this is how we're going to pivot to ensure that we make the best of a bad situation, or enhance something maybe going fantastically, but enhancing it and trialing out new things. So whilst we can get bogged down in the day-to-day and like the budgets and the KPIs and the needing to deliver, we really can't forget that creativity is at the core of marketing. And if we don't experiment and we don't try out new things, good or bad, and be accountable for it on that side, we probably will get behind in all the things that are going on in a fast-paced industry, where actually kind of being ahead really, really matters. So it's finding that balance. Don't lose the creativity, but own what you do at the same time.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think accountability equally leads us to this integrity part, right? Of having integrity in everything that you do, owning up to mistakes, which is fine. Then they're easily fixable if you own up to everything that you do, and have this full transparency. You can then move forward and learn from those immediately, and then things move faster. So I absolutely agree. And that's for sure inspirational, I'm sure, to your team who's working with you and under you, to see that in real time. So this is why you are here today, where you are. So, and we're very happy that we had you. And any last advice to anybody really who's trying to make it in, let's say, marketing, please go ahead. But I think we've got everything from you with curiosity, learning, accountability, resilience, and creativity on top of all of that. So thinking outside of the box is very important. So thank you so much again for your time. Thank you for this wonderful interview. This was a great, as well, knowledge sharing session where I learned quite a lot from you, and I hope all our listeners will learn as well.